Kia ora tātou. John Tamihere here from Te Whānau Waipareira, and I'm lucky enough to join by the Deputy Chairperson of Te Whānau Waipareira, that's Evelyn Taumanu. As happens with some of these setups in this new COVID world, we were hoping to be joined by Whaia Tanks. I'll come to Whaia shortly, but I'm sorry, apologies to those of you who are looking to see her. We hope that she joins sometime in the next wee while on this live feed. But she brings an extraordinary view of knowing our past to actually help manage into our future. Because anyway, that's Whaia. So God bless her. I hope she is able to sort her technical matters out, because she's down in the Waikato with her daughter Andrea, and wish you speedy recovery through your mawewitanga too, Andrea. So how do I kia kōrua? Anyway, he te rangatira Evelyn, ana mai ki wanganui a mātou, kei te whakawhitiwhiti kōrero ki a mātou. So I just wanted to put to you, because what a lot of people don't appreciate is the huge skills in all whānaus, not just Whānau Waipareira, but you, with our darling Dame June Mariu, have been heavily involved in education. So as we defend ourselves through COVID, and particularly through the winter, we've got to continue to keep our shape and our discipline, our hygiene and our organisation going through winter, because it hasn't bitten properly yet, and that's where we will have some difficulties. Why I wanted you on was to work through a system that we have all had to live through. We lived through Rogernomics 84 to 90, where over 44,000 Māori men were thrown out of work without any hope or reskilling. And then we lived through the mother of all budgets, where $16 million of support was dragged out of West Auckland, and we had 35% unemployment then. We still haven't recovered from those two massive economic jolts, because we as a people were heavily involved in certain industries, and when they pulled the pin on them, they destined all those men and their boys and their families to a very difficult period. We're going to come up into that soon, and so what we need is to know that there's hope. And so I just wanted to pass over to you as a mother, grandmother, foundation member of Manutaki, probably. No. and over at the marae at Honi Waititi. And so if Whaia joins us, we'll have over well over 100 years of experience on the channel. So just go for a walk down memory lane in terms of where we've come from as Waipareira Whānui people through the difficult years, and how we've landed where we've landed.
Kia ora, John. Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. It's really good to hear, and it's good for everybody in their lives to take a walk back in memory lane every now and then, because it shows us just how far we've come from an isolated cubicle into an open plan that whānau can share and with everybody. When we go back to the development, I just want to go from there, John, in the development of Whānau Waipareira, and how it grew from that time, in the 1990s, through to 1992. The growth of Waipareira then was in the alternative areas of training. I was involved in alternative education, which was to take care of youngsters, young students that didn't make it in the mainstream, according to the mainstream's needs. When they came into where I was in the field of helping them, I was in the home science, was they excelled because they were allowed to perform and cook and do things that they knew they could do. And the skills that they learned there was going to help them in their lifetime, their pathway forward. Then we go on to look at where Waipareira was in developing the young ones that did not make it in the education system and were either kicked out or terminated from whichever school they were at. 306 students. That's a lot for Waipareira to manage. But the skills that were introduced for each and every one of those students was going to help them in their lifetime. If we look back to that time there, that young students that had just left school but had made it and came into Waipareira tend to send their skills on and always encourage their students, their learners, to strive for better, to be better than what they can. They can do it. It was about that little bit of comfort to say to them, you're magic, you can do it. Just put your best foot forward. In all the areas that Waipareira had, in one that jumps into my mind is the carpentry, because that skill was something that for the boys, not only the boys, but girls joined in that area too. And that is still living today from the tutors that they had at that time. They have now learned to advance in that field. We had plumbers. We had, plumbers, musicians. We had, kapahaka, and that performing arts, and that was a big one because a lot of our students were great at it. So looking back at that time where employment for our young ones was difficult, very difficult, because of what had happened with the country, it is wonderful to know that a lot of those ones that were in those particular classes at that time are now parents themselves and are wanting the best for their children. With the way that education is being spelled out today through live stream, like what we're doing, the parents are teaching their young ones. If not, the young ones are teaching them more. So they will advance in IT going forward. So numbers that came off for Waipareira was in the vicinity of 312 a year. And for all the programs that were around at that time, John, you can recall, Kakariki they had 30 over there. Whānau Waititi, they had 90 over there. Amakura, they had 60 over there. Kotuku, they had 60 over there. And Piringatahi had 12. Now, when you look at all of those numbers and put it together, the youth that were taken from off the road and into programs, making it workable for them, so that they can advance and learn from their teachers, their tutors, their instructors. They did a fine job. And to me, they tutored at that time is amazing. So, yeah.
Okay, well, look, we've been joined by Whaea Evelyn. She can't connect on the link, but she's watching. So I just want to say, hey, it's me, kia koe, e te whaia te koka te mama. So, he aro kia koe, that you can't link. Sorry about that. I'll have to talk on your behalf now, and probably do a terrible job. But Whaea, as you'll know, Evelyn, you can fill in some of the gaps here. She was part of the inaugural movement to set marae up at schools with our darling Auntie Mavis Tuador. And Auntie Mavis and her were powers to be reckoned with, set up the Kohanga Reo at Henderson High School. This is going back 35, 40 years. So they're incredible forces, these women, Auntie June Mario, yourself. And I regret Auntie Twini Hakara. I will name the few, but miss the many. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the whānau for doing that. But with Whaea, she, after a long and illustrious career down at Henderson High, getting away the kapahaka group, getting away the kohanga reo, the marae, then came back to Whānau Waipareira to really drive the alternative education unit. And that's a fancy name for kids that were driven off school campuses, and they're predominantly Māori. And what it demonstrates to you is sometimes the system doesn't cater for our people, rather than them failing the system that's failing them, because not all kids can just get it, right? So we get that, and I just wanted to acknowledge Whaea's contribution through that, plus her kids, right? You can't forget, Chris Tangsi, he was a teacher, outstanding music, was a dap hand on the ukulele and other things. Yeah, and so so to Chris, to her husband, I just wanted to acknowledge you both. Sorry, Mere, that through technical reasons down there in the Waikato you can't meet up with us, but kei te mihi nunu ka koe tō whānau hoki. So the whānau's been great too. With Jeremy in alternative education, he's taken up after Mum, and with both Andrea and Megan, who've done extraordinarily well academically, but also invested back into our people. So just moving on, people, if you've just joined us, I'm with Whaea Evelyn Taumaunu. She's the Deputy Chairperson of Whānau Waipareira, has been a chairperson. Started off as the cook, worked all the way. That's right, worked all the way to the front. And now her whānau is making a major contribution out here in the West. And the mokopunas are on the way too, God forbid. So, so if you go down to our testing station, and it's on-demand testing for Māoris down there, you can go down there and you'll just see the contribution of the Taumanu family and the way in which the Māori wardens work their magic down there. So if just going back, if people have joined us, we're talking about hope, really, in difficult moments. And so we're working through Waipareira, delivering a whole range of services and support to our people. And so I just wanted to throw to you, Ev, because you're on the board, just step through the way the board views raising hope and support in our communities, and always to have belief in themselves. You always have done that.
Okay, and that's so true. It's about always saying that there's a lovely silver lining on the next morning when you rise. You go to bed feeling horrible and wondering, what is it I can do to make a difference tomorrow? Tomorrow, as we all know, never comes because it's tomorrow's tomorrow. But the reality of it all is we look at today for what today has given me or given all of us. And what could we do better today to make it more helpful for tomorrow? Keep a goal in mind. Look to the future, that with this COVID that's around today, it's not about being afraid of it. It's knowing that I haven't got it. And the only way you can do that, whānau, is by going and get tested. I know there are those that say, oh, I won't get it. It's not about that. Go do it if you can, because then you know tomorrow there is always hope to make it better for you and your whānau. The goals set for each other, for individual whānaus within the whānau of Waipareira, each one has their own. Within our family, and I'll just share this with all of you, is that we know that there is beauty all around. Beauty is all around us, but always remember that the beauty comes from when there's love at home. Love is so important, and it counteracts all the hope in the world that you have for one another. It's there to share, to give away for nothing. It costs nothing to give love, to show a friendly smile from the board's perspective, and I do this willingly. Give a friendly smile. We're not allowed to shake hands. Now and again, we have the tendency to forget those things, and it happens. It does happen. But it doesn't hurt, because you're not going to be affected. You have made someone's life a lot happier by giving that smile, by giving that elbow, by giving that toe, and they are happy. And I say that with experience. A lot of you may know Sophie Williams, 2 doors down from me. Via Sophie, she's now in her 90s. She hadn't been around for a long time here on our street, Hamurana. And we saw her the other day on Saturday. It was so lovely to see her, because she is the eldest one in the street now. So to see her, to touch her, to feel her, yeah, we jumped out of our bubbles for a moment. but when you don't see her around and then suddenly you get her, that was the love that we have for one another. And so grateful that we could see her, could touch her, and all she wanted to do was see us and touch us. So hope from the board's perspective is that there will always be a happier tomorrow. Make it better tomorrow than for the things that you didn't get done today. Make sure that you achieve them tomorrow and add to that list.
Good on you, Ev. This is what happens when you have technical failures, and because I know Mary and you would have really sparked one another off for a great conversation. Just moving on to the issue, a lot of people argue that there will be doom and gloom regardless, and that the COVID is going to be as bad as the major damage done to jobs, particularly in sectors that our people are involved in. So because we've been here before, and we don't want to go back to a pre-COVID world. So what do you reckon? What do you see in the future in terms of what Waipareira has to do to step up?
No one wants to go back to the doom and gloom. It's happened, and we've walked through it very carefully. Actually, we've already started doing that in the early 90s. Why? Because, as you mentioned earlier, John, the numbers, Māori were the first ones put off jobs, first ones who lost a lot. Now, when we look at what we're doing here today, and with the Māori whānau that are around, they've come to Waipareira to seek, 1, support, 2, to know that they're being cared for, and they really are. In the way that the distribution has gone out to help the whānaus, John, I commend the workers for doing all that they are doing, delivering the boxes to the whānau, helping the whānaus that are in need right now. And I think going forward for many of the whānaus that have suffered and are still continuing to suffer through this COVID, that as we move forward, they know that they always have whānau Waipareira that they can make contact with, be it through the kaimahi, be it at the end of the line of the phone, be it just seeing one another in the street. They know that whānau or Waipareira will never walk away from them, that they will walk the pathway if it gets really hard, will walk together and find a solution that's going to help their family to grow even stronger.
See, the point that you've made there is that we've built a whānau that is strong and resilient. We're always going to be there. So don't be shy, people, to reach out if you're struggling and you're having your ups and downs. We've got an 0800 number there for when you run out of credit. So I'm told it works most of the time. But it's 0800 924 942. 924 942 is the number. It's an 0800 number. We're endeavouring to extend that over the period of winter for when our difficulties come. We will know by about August exactly how many Māori have been laid off. 1/3 of our people are in and around a benefit cycle, and 1/3 are what they call working poor. Working poor means earning under 60k, 50k a year. And they are subject to being casual, subject to being contract, and therefore subject to being thrown off jobs quickly. First fired, last hired. There will come a time in this country where that will not happen. And so post-COVID, what we're looking at, Ev, is a new way of doing education and a new way of skill enhancement and levering our people into sustainable jobs. To do that, the government's the only business in the country that at the moment can change the moral compass from a pre-COVID, where we were locked in as second-class citizens, to a post-COVID that gives us an opportunity in our own land. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us as a people. And so I see Uncle Jerry Norman's just called in to wish you all the best. And Jerry, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Auntie Mary Tunks is having technical problems down there in the Waikato with her daughter and mokopunas. But we're very supportive of her and the contribution she's had in our community. Same with you, Uncle Jerry, because he was in education for Yonks, wasn't he, Evelyn?
Yep. Yes, he had.
Helped us out. And I'll tell you what, our karawa, Mr. Tipania, was with Special Education Service too, Uncle Alfie. Yeah, so we're surrounded by educationists from Auntie June Māori all the way through. Incredible, really. Dr. Sir Peter Sharples, another educationist. Great. Incredible.
Sharples.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Whaiaroa Sharples. She taught my babies Māori at the kohanga and kicked off the kura.
Yeah, and Kiri Paniora.
Oh, and Kiri here.
Yes. When you look at that, there we have got skilled Māori personnel in education, right to the highest, the deans, all of that, right through. Cindy, what's her name? Cindy Hiro.
Cindy Kiro.
Yeah. Sorry, Kiro. In Auckland. So I mean, we've got educationalists, high caliber, John, and coming right through. Their teachers at the grassroots, their mothers, their nannies, all of that via June and hers.
Yeah.
So, I was just thinking about when you were talking before the establishment of the kohanga reos that were developed in the 80s, and so you look at that going from the 80s to where Whānau Waititi have now developed they developed their kohanga. They went on to the kura and then the kura tuarua, all of that's at Whānau in that community. Fabulous. You look at Kakariki, and when they started, Morgan Penny was there, and via Judy Cooper developed the kohanga reo, the training programs there. Then you go up to where is it, Piringatahi, and their development up there. Needs a bit more work on that one though. And looking at Kotuku and the development there of when Whai June got the marae developed for the purpose of teaching Māori in that marae. Today it's not so, but the kohanga got developed in 1986 and still is established there today. So via Kiri for there, so all of these, there heaps of Māori educationalists. So
we even missed out Auntie Letty Brown after all that.
She's the one that's in, what's the name of that street? Is it Tahi?
Yeah. Yeah,
she's got her kohanga. It's lovely. So Te Aratu has a lot of, I believe, highfalutin personnel up here and have developed areas and dreams that were once dreams and now realities. So, kei te mihi atu ki a koutou. Ngā wahine mā, ngā tamamā, o ngā kohanga reo. Kia ora mai no tātou.
Kia ora, Auntie Eve. So, what we've got is we've got a new era. We will get ourselves through winter and through COVID. But we in Waipareira are now starting to fire up to then plan the recovery for our people, because we can't wait for others to make decisions for us, because ultimately their decisions are always poor. And then when we fail their system, it's we've failed the system as opposed to us helping to design what works for us. So what do you reckon about that? Are we going to stand up and sort this out or what?
My oath, John, at our last board meeting, thinking about what you said and looking at the IT going through to the future, it is developing. It is about developing the areas and the skills that are necessary for our young ones to continue to learn. We don't know when they're going to get back in the mainstream. But right now, IT is the only thing that's going to help them advance. And Waipareira is prepared to stand up and go ahead and work hard with our whānaus, work hard with you, work hard with all of our kaimahi, and where they need help and our support, we'll be there. No problem, because that's what it's about. Yeah,
okay, so we'll be taking, Auntie Eve just signalled at a board meeting we were having a discussion that any baby in any family in a decile 5 or under school, and we'll just use decile 5 as a cut-off point, that does not have a device, and a device meaning either iPhone, notepad, or iPad rather, or laptop. That's like sending a kid to school in my day without textbooks or access to a textbook. So we've got to ensure all our children have the ability for devices and data to run them. Okay, and they cannot learn in a new era unless that happens. And so we owe it to them to ensure that either us and or the government ensure that every one of those babies is tooled up for a new environment in 2020 to learn, to be as good as the person next to them, solely because they deserve it, they deserve the equality. Just because their mum and dad can't afford a device doesn't mean to say that they shouldn't have one to participate in the education system, So I think when we have these discussions, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening tonight around our board table, we've got a lot of great community leaders, and they wonder about why things should be, and then say, no, we're going to change them. And so as long as you keep believing in ourselves, have faith in ourselves, we'll stumble and fall. But at the end of the day, that's us stumbling and falling, not someone tripping us up. So Ev, it's been a delight having you on this evening. I'm really regretful that Whaea couldn't make it, because she can out-talk you and me as well. But and she's also been an outstanding revelation, hasn't she, as chair of our Waipareira, which has gone from strength to strength. Yeah.
You're right in that, John, and that she is also the chair of our Roku Kaumātua. You know, so the leadership is needed there, as well as anywhere else in our community. Leadership is always in the forefront, and the beauty is that we all are like one big whānau when we're together. So it's been great, and thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be on here with you, John, tonight. It's been a privilege. And we look forward to our next board meeting, where other challenges will jump up. And but to you and your whānau, keep safe, and may you be blessed with all the blessings that the Almighty can give.
Sure.
And to each and every one of you that's listening, ke te mihi atu ki a koutou, ma te atua koutou e manaki, e tiaki, no reira tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Pōmari e whānau.
Kia ora.